Hi, I'm Gaia Malikian, and I'm very excited to be here with the highly talented Mr. Kiefer William Frederick Dempsey George Rufus Sutherland.
Very well done.
Congratulations on this new project.
Thank you very much.
It's called Forsaken, and it's a father-son redemption story, very touching story, gorgeous cinematography, not to mention a fantastic performance by you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes, I mean, everything from the mean beating that you take in the beginning to a couple of very moving scenes with your father to true to form gunslinging.
Right.
I mean, I really enjoyed it all.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank
yes. Now, this is a Western genre, which, Kiefer, you haven't kind of dabbled into since your success with Young Guns and the sequel.
Yeah.
So how does it feel to come back to a Western after all these years and to play this character?
Well, it's a genre that I've loved ever since I was a child as a moviegoer. So it does everything from kind of freeing your inner child with the wardrobe and the gunslinging and all of that. But I think ultimately what I've grown to really love about the Western, and it's really predominant in every great Western that I've seen, is that we have this perception that things were simpler back then, that people were good or they were bad. That makes storytelling very kind of straightforward and simple. And so when you try to take something as complicated as the father-son dynamic and try and explain a story within that, having a Western as a backdrop is really an incredible luxury. So for all of those different reasons, whether it's the horses and the guns and that, or just the simple platform of the genre, loved coming back to it.
You can certainly tell. You
Well,
can certainly
thanks.
tell.
Thank
And some
you.
incredible performances.
Thank you.
Now, there are a couple of personal connections also to you with this movie. For instance, you guys shot the film in Canada.
Yes,
You
yeah.
spent much of your childhood in Canada. It's a father-son story. You play with your father, Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how did this all come together so beautifully? What was the catalyst to this project?
Well, I've wanted to do a film with my father for 30 years. Incredible. From the time I was about 18 years old, I got to see a lot of my father's work. And he was an actor that I really wanted to aspire to be, from the diversity of characters that he was playing to the kind of roles and films that he was choosing. That was the kind of actor that I wanted to be. My father, Gene Hackman, Bobby Duvall, those were those kinds of actors. So I've obviously, or naturally, would have wanted to have worked with him for a variety of reasons, whether it was not finding the right material or schedules not aligning. That just simply didn't happen. And so I wanted to make sure that we got the opportunity, so I started developing a story for he and I. And I picked the Western because, again, I thought it was a perfect backdrop to tell a story like this. And both of us wanted to shoot a film in Canada. I think it's really important. If you've got a very personal story, if you can take it back home, that was very important to us. And then an added luxury was, after 30 years of working, I've got great friends in this business, and they came to help me. And Demi Moore, Brian Cox, Michael Wincott, extraordinary actors. John Cassar, who I had worked with on 24, directed this film. So it felt in many ways like a coming home event, and just had just an amazing experience making this film.
You can certainly tell it's very endearing. You can tell that you are just a tight bunch that came together after all these years, like you said. It just, the stars were aligned, and it was a perfect time to create something very personal and beautiful.
Well, thank you.
Now, Kiefer, when it comes to your career, what makes you tick? What brings out that passion in you?
Well, I think my impetus to want to work as an actor in the first place from when I was quite young. I was lucky enough to be surrounded, either friends of my father's and predominantly friends of my mother's, great storytellers. And storytelling was something that's interested me, and whether it's through music or whether it's through acting, film or theater, storytelling is at the root of it. And so the choices that I've made, some for better, some for worse, I don't look for a role. I look for a story that I find interesting, and then whatever part I can find in the context of that story that would suit me is what a director ends up choosing. So my career has really been about that. It's not looking for a specific role, but an interesting story for me.
On that note, when it comes to your personal world, let's call it Kieferland. I think I just created a new hashtag. So in Kieferland, what is your definition of bliss?
As a father, as long as I know my children are happy and they're good,
yeah,
it's a good day. They're the people I worry about the most. As long as I know that they're fine, everything else I can handle. I've been very fortunate in my life to be able to have had the career I've had, to be able to do what I have a real passion for. And I've been fortunate enough to be able to try other things that excite me.
Yeah.
So I've considered myself very lucky. It's when you ask me a question like that, I don't find myself saying, well, I hope for this or I wish for that. I've actually had it and try to remember to be really grateful for and thankful for it. And again, as long as my family's good, I'm good.
Self-awareness, that's a beautiful thing. Yes. Yeah. You have a large collection of vintage guitars.
Yeah.
You play and sing, very nicely so, I might say.
Thank you.
So when you're singing, how does that fulfill you versus when you're acting? Is it any different for you? Does it make you feel different?
It's very different. Again, the songs that I write and the songs that I've been interested in playing of other people's often tell a story as well. So it's kind of an extension of this desire to tell stories. But when you're playing out live, it's a very different sense, certainly, than making a film. Audiences are different from night to night. You try and find different ways to connect. You're interacting with your band very much like an actor would interact with their cast. There are similarities, but again, because it's a live performance and it's quite dynamic, the differences are pretty profound as well.
Now, you have won a Golden Globe, an Emmy, and 2 SAG Awards for your role in 24, so I have to ask this question for all your fans. Do you think we'll ever see Jack Bauer again?
You never know. I wish I could be more definitive.
Yeah.
Having said that, I think the new 24 is going to be very cool.
Yeah.
I've always said that I think the real star of 24 was the idea.
Yeah.
And I'm excited that they're moving forward with that. And I'll be one of the first people to watch it and can't wait. And whether Jack Bauer ever comes back in the context of that show or whether we ever end up making the movie, you never know. So I think I'll try and be wise and not put him to bed. Yeah.
Also, speaking of your family legacy, your daughter Sarah, she is on a hit comedy series on HBO. It's called Veep, which is one of my favorite shows.
Yeah, mine too.
And so what kind of advice does she come to you for?
She doesn't. And I think it's and it was kind of the same with me and my father and me and my mother. I think both my parents were uniquely disappointed when they realized that this was what I wanted to do. And I understand that much more as a parent now because and I've had one of the most lucky and successful careers of anyone I know. And even that's not always as easy as one might think. But it's more often than not, it's very hard to get even a single job as a professional actor. And I don't think you want that for your children. Having said that, when I made the decision, both my parents were incredibly gracious and respectful of it, incredibly supportive of it. But neither my mother nor my father ever kind of said, well, this is how you have to do it then, and this is how you have to work, and this is how you should perform. And I didn't do that with my daughter either. I think she's an incredible actor, and I have an incredible amount of respect for her. And if she were to ever ask me a question, I would always answer it. But I think she very consciously has really tried to find her own way.
Kiefer, can you please finish the sentence for me in one word? Kiefer Sutherland is?
Happy.
Nice. Thank you so much.
Great.
It was a pleasure speaking with you.
Cheers.